Hello, my name is Bethany and I'm a Schools and Colleges Engagement Officer from the University of Plymouth. Today I'll be talking about choosing a course and the benefits of university. The purpose of this talk is to talk a bit about some of the benefits of going to university, give some advice on how you can choose the right course and the right university, and briefly introduce you to the UCAS website and how to use it most effectively. I'll also point you in the direction of some useful websites and tools that can help you research your HE choices. So it might be useful to have a notebook or a laptop to take a few notes as I talk. There are many benefits of going to university, academically and career-wise, but also socially and for general life experience. In terms of academics, by going to university and studying towards a degree for 3 or 4 years, you'll obviously be increasing your knowledge in your chosen subject area. So for some courses, that means you'll develop specific specialist skills and knowledge that are really essential for a particular career. So things like nursing and other healthcare professions, teaching, and maybe working in law and others. But if you kind of choose a degree that has a less clear pathway, you'll still gain an in-depth knowledge of your subject and you'll acquire transferable skills that are still really valued by employers. So things like oral and written communication, presentation skills, working in teams, and managing projects. It's part of the reason why lots of jobs nowadays require a degree of some kind, regardless of what exactly you studied in some cases. So, for example, in our team here at the university, we have people who studied media, psychology, illustration, and I studied English at university. There's also real value in the general life experience you gain from going to university. So moving away from home, living with other people, living independently. In many ways, university is kind of a stepping stone between school and kind of adult life, in that it does force you to be independent and take on a lot more responsibility, but you still have the structure of being on campus, following a timetable, and having plenty of support from university staff. You might have spotted a couple of figures on the slide here. So graduates may earn around 200,000 more in their lifetime compared to non-graduates. And lifetime earnings can increase by 53% for women with a degree and 28% for men with a degree. As well, most universities will offer a lot of career advice and support to their students. I'll tell you a bit about what we offer at Plymouth later in the presentation. Aside from studying, university is one of the best times in your life to get involved with a huge range of other things like volunteering, work experience, and clubs and societies. In terms of volunteering, most universities have raise and give societies that regularly run volunteer or other charity events. And there are likely to be other work experience opportunities, whether they're built into your course already through a kind of placement, or something a bit more casual like a summer internship. You could also combine the two, so that's what I did at university. I volunteered at a local school, which also helped me get a bit of work experience. Most universities have a students' union, which organises clubs dedicated to different sports and societies for all kinds of hobbies, cultural interests, political interests, and other groups where you can meet like-minded people. So at Plymouth, we have clubs including football, rugby, rowing, tennis. We've got some more unusual ones as well, like American football, various martial arts, windsurfing, and even underwater hockey. And then in terms of societies, we've got, again, a huge range from some more conventional ones like debate society, photography, art, choir, to some more unusual ones like Harry Potter, knitting, Disney, and many, many more to suit all interests. Turning back to life after university and thinking about your future career, gaining a degree can really help you enter the workplace once you graduate. So many professions now, as I said before, are graduate only, meaning you must have a degree of some kind to meet the job requirements. So there are vocational careers which require specific training, like healthcare and teaching, among others. But there are many jobs that aren't degree specific, but are still only open to graduates. So having a degree will really help you in what is an increasingly competitive job market. Remember as well the increased earning potential I mentioned at the beginning. So around a half more for women and nearly a third more for men over their lifetime in terms of earnings. And to expand on what I mentioned with the university career support that you can expect, at Plymouth, we have a students' jobs team who can help you find part-time work whilst you study. And that includes opportunities to work for the university as a student ambassador, helping with big events like open days or with school visits. And then we have our careers service who offer current and former students help with things like writing CVs, practicing for interviews, help with job applications. They organise career fairs. They'll do one-to-one meetings to help with individual needs. And that support does actually carry on after you've graduated and help you enter the workplace. The table here gives you an idea of the difference between graduate and non-graduate salaries. As you can see, the variation in salaries is dependent on the subject you study, but traditionally the graduate salary is always going to be higher than the non-graduate salary. And that's especially true in subjects like engineering, maths, social work, and geology. So I've outlined some of the benefits of going to university, and now I'll give some advice about how to choose a course. So the first thing to consider is what kind of course you might want to do. And there are perhaps more than you might initially think. So you might want to do a foundation degree, which is the next level up after A-levels or BTEC or equivalent. So foundation degrees are traditionally 2 years long, and they are a qualification in their own right. They're normally taught at a further education institution like a college rather than a higher education institution. So that could mean less travelling, perhaps your local college is closer than your local university, and potentially lower tuition fee costs. And you often then have the option of topping up to a traditional honours degree, normally by completing a final third year on a university campus. You then have honours degrees, which are the kind of traditional degree that most students will go to university for. So they're normally 3 years. Sometimes they're 4 years if they include a year-long kind of work placement. And they all have different acronyms depending on the awarding title. So one of the most common ones is BA, Bachelor of Arts, but you'll also see BSc, Bachelor of Science, BEd, Bachelor of Education, BEng, Bachelor of Engineering, BMBS, Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, and various other ones. You could then also look at a fast track degree. So that is the same level of qualification as the traditional honours degree I just mentioned, but it's kind of condensed into 2 years. So as it's over a shorter period of time, the learning style is a bit more intensive. It's likely to kind of start in September and finish the following August with limited holiday time, as opposed to a longer summer break you would normally get on a 3 or 4 year course. Not all universities offer this option, but if you are interested, you can kind of inquire about it and research it a little bit further. At Plymouth, we do offer a 2-year business degree. And then you have a sandwich degree. So that is the same as the traditional honours degree, but with an integrated work placement year, making it 4 years. So it's normally in between your second and third year. You'd have an additional year working in industry gaining normally paid work experience before returning to complete your final year of studies at university. You could also look at doing a combined master's degree. Some universities offer a 4 or possibly 5-year combined master's course, which leads to a higher level of qualification than a traditional honours degree. But it's kind of funded exactly the same way as the normal undergraduate degree. So you qualify with a master's degree. So these would have an acronym like MA or MEng or MSc, depending again on the subject you're studying. And then you need to consider, do you want to do a specialist or a non-specialist degree? So some courses lead directly into a career and often feature an element of work experience. So, for example, nursing at Plymouth is roughly 50-50 work placements compared to kind of learning theory. Other courses don't necessarily work this way, but you can then go on to the graduate-only careers I mentioned with the transferable general skills you've developed at university. And then there are various kind of progression routes you can take after your degree. So you could carry on in education by doing a year-long or 2-year-long master's degree, or you could even look at doing a PhD, which is again another kind of 3 or 4 years, and that's pretty much the kind of most advanced qualification you could gain in your subject. There is definitely something for everyone in terms of higher education courses available. So there are 37,189 different higher education courses in the UK, and there are 373 higher education institutes out there as well. And it's worth noting that 95% of universities currently accept BTECs for entry at over 70% of degree subjects. So don't feel like your options are limited if you've done BTECs rather than A-levels. So when you're looking at courses, you could continue a subject you've really enjoyed at school. So that's exactly what I did with English. It was just something I'd enjoyed at school and I carried it on to university. Or you could also try something completely new. So criminology is quite a popular course, and it's quite unlikely that students starting a criminology course at university will have ever studied anything like that before. But that's not a problem. It's a great opportunity to study something brand new. Some key things to consider when choosing a course are things like entry requirements. So these are going to differ even for the same course across different universities. So for a course that you might need 3 Bs for at one university, you might need 3 As for at a different university, even though it's the same kind of subject area. And you do need to make sure your course choices are realistic for you in terms of the entry requirements compared to the grades you're expecting to achieve. Look as well at the modules and optional modules. So a module is the actual topic that is covered on the course. So at university, the curriculum doesn't work like schools. It's not the same kind of thing between all universities. Something like a history degree at one university would be completely different from a history degree at a different university. So you do need to do your research on what modules are covered. And especially if there's something specific that you would like to study, is that going to be covered on your course? The optional modules are the ones that you can choose to do, particularly in your 2nd and 3rd year. So again, look at whether there's quite a good range of optional modules available, or is it a bit more limited in terms of what you can actually study. And then also look at the assessment methods. So different courses will have different assessment styles. Some courses might be 100% coursework. Some will include a mixture of coursework and exams. And others may actually be heavier on the exams. So something like accountancy is generally majority exams rather than coursework. You might also want to think about your employment prospects. So That could be both during and after university. A lot of students find it useful to have a part-time job whilst they study to kind of supplement their student finance. So look into what kinds of services there are at the university to help you find a job whilst you study. But crucially, looking ahead to once you've left university, what are the graduate prospects like for students from that university? And even if you can find the information, the employment prospects for students who have done the course you're interested in. You might want to consider whether the course is accredited or not. So that means, does it have approval from a professional organisation? And is that important for your career plans? So again, taking accountancy as an example, if you're doing an accredited accountancy degree at university, it means you might actually be exempt from having to do further qualifications once you are working, which you'd have thought would make you a bit more employable, because your employer would have to do less on-the-job training. You're already very well prepared for the role. Other kind of careers, it's not quite so important whether the course is accredited or not, but it's worth looking into. And then, of course, think about placement opportunities. So is there a chance on the course to do some work experience? That might be a full year in a job role. It might be half a year. It might even just be a summer internship. But is there anything like that available? And is that going to be important for your future career? So something like engineering, it's particularly useful if you were able to get a work placement as part of your course and get some hands-on experience to prepare you once you graduate. And then think about things like the teaching methods. So kind of like assessment methods, it will really vary between different universities and different courses. Hopefully there'll be quite varied teaching methods, so a combination of things like lectures, seminars, group work. But look more into exactly how they're going to teach your course and whether that suits you and your learning style. And finally, it is important to do what interests you personally, because you're the one who's kind of going to be studying this subject in depth for at least 3 years of your life. So don't go for something you only feel half-hearted about. So moving on to how you should choose a university. Obviously, if the course you want to do is very specific, you might be limited to only a couple of different universities who offer that course, but in most cases, you'll have hundreds of universities to choose from. When you apply to university via UCAS, you can initially apply to up to 5 different universities or 5 different courses, but that still means making some difficult decisions about where you'd like to study and narrowing down your choices. So on this slide are some things that you might want to consider to help you narrow down your choice of university. So a big one is location. And you may have heard of the terms city and campus university. That simply means, is it based in a city centre, possibly spread out over multiple campuses, or is it on one main campus based outside of the closest town or city? And it's completely personal preference which one you would prefer. Plymouth is a really good mixture of both because we are a campus university. Everything is based on one main site, apart from the medical students who have their own dedicated site about a 15-minute drive away. But our campus is also right in the city centre. So it's a good kind of combination of both city and campus. And following on from that, you might want to think about the distance from home. So how close or how far away do you want to be from home? Would you prefer to live at home? In which case, what would the commute to university be like? Or do you want to live in a particular part of the country? University is actually a really good opportunity to live somewhere new. And then look at the course itself. So I've already given you some tips on choosing the right course. But you might be concerned about which university you go to more than the course you do. So some people get very kind of focused on wanting to go to a specific university, and they overlook slightly the actual course. But you should really research the course very carefully, because even at a great university, you will struggle if the course isn't a good fit for you. Look into the campus and the facilities. So to get a good idea of the campus, we usually recommend visiting on an open day before you apply. Currently, these are mostly virtual open days hosted on university websites, but these still allow you to take virtual tours and see lots of great photos of the facilities. So that's things like the lecture rooms, classrooms, labs, the library, the gym, etc. But universities will hold physical open days as soon as they're able to. And you still will get a chance to visit even after you've applied. So often after you've applied to a university, if you've been made an offer to study there, you'll be invited to an applicant day or something similar, which is like an open day for people with offers. So you should have a couple of opportunities to actually visit the campus, and if possible, try and visit at least kind of 3 different universities, just so you have a point of comparison before you make your final choices on where you're actually going to apply to. Do you consider the university's reputation? A lot of people will use league tables for that, but kind of a word of warning for the league tables is to filter by subject area, because you will get some universities that might not be so highly ranked overall, but they'll have individual subjects that are very highly ranked, and vice versa. They might be highly ranked as a university, but have a bit of a weakness in some subject areas. So I always recommend filtering by subject area when looking at league tables. Think about the clubs and societies that are on offer at the university. So what extracurricular activities do you want to take part in, whether that's kind of continuing an existing hobby or starting a new one? As I mentioned before, we've got a lot of different ones at Plymouth. There are actually over 200 clubs and societies here, so there's lots to choose from. And then think about the general atmosphere of the university. Again, it's a little bit tricky because that's something you can only really get from visiting in person. You might even, if there's no physical open days on offer, in some cases be able to ask for just an informal kind of campus tour. But that really depends on the university's policies, government regulations, and whether they are able to do that for you. But it is worth asking just in case that's a possibility. And finally, accommodation is definitely something to consider. So it's quite likely, unless you live at home, in your first year at least, you'll live on campus. So look at the rooms and prices and how close they are to the main kind of campus facilities. So at Plymouth, for example, our students are housed right on the campus itself or just across the road from campus in the student village. So that's all very close to the main kind of lecture rooms and classrooms. You might also want to start looking into the options available for private housing in your second and third year. Not in any great detail, but just roughly the availability of that, kind of general prices of that, and the general cost of living in the city. So the university.which.co.uk asked current university students when they were doing their research, what they wish they'd considered when they were doing their research into universities. And here are the top 5 responses they gave. So at the top there is the number of scheduled teaching hours that a student will receive, and that will depend on the course they're doing. It's not a kind of general university rule for that. Second was the demographic of the people who go there. So maybe that's something you can kind of inquire about, especially if you do get to visit on an open day or similar. Then the learning and assessment style was also another important factor. The financial support on offer at the university. So that might be things like scholarships and bursaries, which is definitely something you can inquire about at kind of an early stage. And the degree classes awarded was also something they wish they had looked at when choosing which university to go to. So you can kind of read about that in full on university.which.co.uk if you are interested. So in terms of research you can start doing right now, all universities have a prospectus which has the latest details of the courses they got on offer. It's also normally got nice quality photos of the campus and its facilities. And you can normally request this via the website. If you do get a chance to go to a higher education fair, so something like a UCAS fair, they are a great opportunity to speak to representatives from most UK universities and ask any questions you might have with an actual member of staff from that university. So currently these are being held online and are grouped by subject area, but you can find out more about that on the UCAS website. They also hope to have physical UCAS fairs next year as well, kind of regulations permitting. And then once you have a better idea of which course and which university you might be interested in, you can look into whether they are offering an open day, whether it's online or in person. So you can find out more about what it's like to study there and hopefully get a chance to speak to academics about the course itself and maybe current students about their experience of studying there. As with most things, the internet is an invaluable source of information when it comes to researching universities and courses. And I will show you some useful websites in just a moment. But then the league tables created by companies like Times Higher Education, The Guardian, and the Complete University Guide can give you an idea of how universities compare to each other. But do bear in mind, as I said, it's worth filtering by subject area to give you a more accurate result of the reputation of the particular course you're interested in. So after you've done all your research and you're ready to apply to university, you'll do this via the UCAS website. So UCAS is the Universities and Colleges Admissions Service. And rather than applying directly to a university, you'll apply to UCAS, who will keep you updated on all your university applications. So on the slide here is the main UCAS website landing page. And as you can see, right in the middle of the landing page is a search bar where you can search for courses available in the UK. You can search by general subject area, by specific course title, or even by university name, and find relevant results. So for example, if you searched for English, you would get thousands of results from all the different English courses available in the UK. The results are arranged alphabetically by university, so starting with the University of Aberdeen. But obviously thousands is far too many to kind of browse through. So you're going to want to look into filtering your search to narrow it down and make it more relevant to what exactly you're looking for. So the UCAS search does have filters available for that. It's got things like the kind of level of course you're looking for. So as you can see on the slide there, we've searched for undergraduate courses. Undergraduate simply means you've not already got a degree in that subject area. Postgraduate is the kind of master's and PhD level, but for the bachelor's level, you're looking at undergraduate. We've also filtered by 2021 entry, and we have also filtered by the University of Plymouth. But other filters you can use are things like the entry requirements. So if you know how many UCAS tariff points you are predicted to get, you can narrow your results down by that. You can also filter by a location. So you choose a particular location and you can then filter by how close or how far away the results are from that specific location. So as you can see, even after we've filtered by undergraduate courses for 2021 at the University of Plymouth, we actually still have 14 different courses. And that's because at Plymouth, we offer variations on English. So as well as English, we have things like a foundation level English, and we have English with history. And you'd see on the website, we've got things like English with kind of publishing, different combinations, which is why you get so many results in that initial search just for English. Once you see a course you think you're interested in, you can click on it for more information. So you'll get a course summary, you'll get kind of details about how to apply and the entry requirements, some information about how much it's going to cost and the kind of funding that's available to help you pay for it. and then some general information about the university itself. You can see there as well, there's the TEF rating. So that's the kind of teaching quality. And at the moment, Plymouth has a silver, so it goes gold, silver, and bronze. So those are all kind of further details that can help you narrow down your final decisions about the course you want to do. So finally, in this talk, I'm going to show you a couple of websites that are really a goldmine of information about university, starting with the Student Room. So if you've not already visited, the Student Room is the biggest online community for students, and it has a huge range of information about everything to do with education. So that includes universities, but it also includes colleges and A-level and BTECs. It has forums where you can speak to students from a particular university. It also has reps from most universities and other kind of student-related organizations. So things like Student Finance have a representative on there who can help you with issues relating to student finance. But as you can see from the tabs at the top of that screenshot, there's kind of guidance for every stage, from making your decisions about where to apply, to applying, to your kind of initial few weeks at university, and then supporting you as well, finding a career after graduating. You then also have Discover Uni. So discoveruni.gov.uk is the official government source of information and advice about higher education. So that includes both university and apprenticeships, and aims to help you make sense of all the information that's out there by linking you to other quality resources and explaining what you can find on those resources. It also helps you to search for and compare information and data for individual undergraduate courses across the UK. So that is another great resource when you're looking to compare universities and courses to help you make your final decisions. So to summarise the kind of key advice about how to choose a course and university, do start thinking as soon as possible about what you might want to do in the future and whether you think university is a good option for you. Think about your academic interests, the subjects you're good at, but also what you're passionate about, or even new subjects that you'd like to explore. Start researching courses and universities using prospectuses, using their websites and open days. If you are able to visit universities, consider doing so. We suggest visiting at least 3 if possible so you can compare. Opendays.com lists most physical and virtual open days available in the UK. And then when you're ready to make your application, do make sure you choose courses with a range of entry requirements. So some that have the grades you hope to achieve, but also at least one that has lower entry requirements as a kind of safety net, just in case you don't quite meet the grades you need for your top choice universities. Crucially though, make the decisions that are right for you personally. Definitely ask for advice from teachers, parents, whoever else you trust, but ultimately it's you who has to study the course at that particular university for several years, so it must be right for you personally. Thank you for listening. I really hope you found it useful. If you'd like to find out more about the courses on offer here at the University of Plymouth, you can request a prospectus at www.plymouth.ac.uk/forms/prospectus/request, or you can also email prospectus@plymouth.ac.uk and request one. And you can also follow us on social media at Plym Uni Apply.